Lisa Martinez moved slowly between the tables at Danny's diner. Her belly was big now, 6 months into her pregnancy, and every step took more effort than before. The old diner sat next to Highway 95 in Nevada, where trucks stopped for cheap coffee and burgers. Most days were the same. Truckers came in tired and hungry. Tourists drove by without stopping. Lisa served food and cleaned tables and tried to save money for the baby that would come in 3 months. The morning rush was almost over when she heard the bell above the front door ring. Lisa looked up from wiping down table 6 and saw 3 men walk in. They did not look like the usual customers. These men wore expensive black suits that looked new and clean. Their shoes shined like mirrors. They moved like they owned the place, but also like they were looking for something. The man in front was tall with silver hair that was combed back neat. He had sharp blue eyes that seemed to see everything at once. Lisa had been working at the diner for 2 years, and she had learned to read people fast. This man was different. He carried himself like someone used to giving orders and having people listen. The other 2 men stayed close behind him, one on each side. They looked around the diner like guards checking for danger. Lisa grabbed 3 menus from behind the counter and walked over to their table. Her back ached from standing all morning, but she put on her work smile. The 3 men sat down without talking. The silver-haired man looked at her face, then at her name tag, then at her belly. His eyes were not mean, but they made her feel like he was reading her thoughts. "Good morning," Lisa said, setting the menus down. "What can I get you gentlemen to drink?" The silver-haired man spoke first. His voice was deep and calm, but there was something strange about the way he said certain words. "Coffee, please, black." His accent was hard to place. It sounded almost American, but not quite right. The other 2 men nodded. "Same," said the one on the left. He had dark hair and looked younger than the leader. The third man said nothing, but pointed to his coffee cup. "3 coffees, black," Lisa said. "I'll be right back with those." She walked to the coffee station behind the counter where Danny was cooking eggs on the grill. Danny owned the diner and had worked there for 30 years. He was a good boss who let Lisa work extra hours when she needed money for doctor visits. "Those guys look important," Danny said without looking up from the eggs. "Not the usual crowd." Lisa poured coffee into 3 white cups. "Yeah, they're different. Expensive suits, fancy watches. Wonder what they're doing out here." "Maybe their car broke down," Danny said. "Or maybe they're lost." Lisa carried the coffee back to the table. The 3 men had not opened their menus. Instead, they were talking in low voices that she could not hear. When she got close, they stopped talking and looked at her. "Here's your coffee," she said, setting the cups down. "Have you had a chance to look at the menu?" The silver-haired man picked up his coffee and took a sip. "This is good coffee," he said. "Better than I expected." "Danny makes it fresh every hour," Lisa said. "We take pride in our coffee here." The man studied her face again. "What's your name?" "Lisa. Lisa Martinez." She pointed to her name tag. "It's right here." "Lisa Martinez," he repeated, like he was testing how the word sounded. "How long have you worked here, Lisa?" The question seemed strange, but customers ask strange questions sometimes. "About 2 years now, since I moved to town." "And where did you move from?" Now Lisa felt uncomfortable. The man's questions were too personal for a customer ordering breakfast. "Albuquerque? Look, are you ready to order food or do you need more time?" The silver-haired man smiled, but it did not make Lisa feel better. "We're not quite ready yet, but thank you for the coffee." Lisa walked back to the counter, feeling like the 3 men were watching her every step. She had served thousands of customers in 2 years, and she had learned to trust her feelings about people. These men were not dangerous, but they were not normal either. "They're asking a lot of questions," she told Danny. "What kind of questions?" "Personal stuff. Where I'm from, how long I've worked here." "It's weird." Danny looked over at the table. Maybe they're reporters or something. You know, doing a story about small-town diners. "Maybe," Lisa said, but she did not think that was right. The morning went on. More customers came and went. Lisa served coffee and eggs and pancakes. She cleaned tables and filled sugar containers. But she kept thinking about the three men in suits. They had been sitting at the same table for over an hour, drinking coffee and talking quietly. They had not ordered food. They had not asked for the check. They just sat there watching everything that happened in the diner. During her break, Lisa sat in the back room and rubbed her feet. Her ankles were swollen and her back hurt. The baby was getting bigger every day and work was getting harder. She had saved some money, but not enough. The father of her baby had left town when she told him she was pregnant. She was alone, and she was scared. Through the kitchen door, she could hear voices from the dining room. The three men were still talking, but now they were speaking louder. Lisa could catch some words. "The readings are correct," one voice said. "Confirmed," said another. "She fits the profile perfectly," said the third voice. Lisa thought it was the silver-haired man. Profile? For what? Lisa wondered. Were they talking about her? The idea seemed crazy, but the feeling would not go away. She went back to work, serving lunch to truckers and cleaning tables. The three men ordered more coffee, but still no food. They kept talking and watching everything around them. Lisa tried to ignore them, but every time she looked up, at least one of them was looking at her. At 2 o'clock, the lunch rush ended. The diner was almost empty except for the three men and an old trucker reading a newspaper. Lisa was wiping down tables when the silver-haired man called her over. "Lisa," he said, "could you sit with us for a moment?" "I'm working," she said. "I can't just sit down." The man looked at Danny behind the counter. "Would it be all right if Lisa took a short break? We'd like to talk with her." Danny looked confused but nodded. "Sure, I guess. Lisa, take a few minutes." Lisa sat down across from the three men, feeling more nervous than before. Up close, she could see that their suits were made from material she had never seen before. It looked like silk, but seemed to move slightly in the light. Their watches were not like any watches she knew. Instead of numbers, they had symbols that seemed to glow. "Lisa Martinez," the silver-haired man said. 24 years old, born in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Your mother died 3 years ago from cancer. Your father left when you were 12. You were the best student in your high school class. You got a full scholarship to study science at a big university, but you turned it down to stay home and take care of your sick mother. Lisa's mouth fell open. "How do you know all that?" The man reached into his jacket and pulled out a small device that looked like a phone but was too thin and too bright. "Because we've been looking for someone exactly like you, Lisa Martinez, and now we've found you." Lisa stared at the device in the man's hand. It was flat like a phone but made of something that looked like crystal. Strange symbols moved across its surface, glowing with soft blue light. She had never seen anything like it. "What is that thing?" she asked. "This shows us information about people," the silver-haired man said. "It told us about your life, your choices, your character. We have been watching you for some time, Lisa Martinez." "Watching me?" Lisa's voice got higher. "What do you mean? Watching me? Are you cops, FBI?" The man on the left spoke up. "We are not from your government." "Then who are you?" Lisa looked around the diner. Danny was still cooking behind the counter, but he kept looking over at their table. The old trucker had put down his newspaper and was listening too. The silver-haired man put the crystal device on the table. "My name is Commander Hayes. These are my officers, Captain Bell and Lieutenant Moore. We work for an organization that your world does not know about yet." "What organization?" "The Galactic Federation." Lisa laughed, but it came out wrong, like a cough. "The what? Are you serious?" Commander Hayes touched the crystal device. Suddenly the air above the table began to shimmer. Lisa gasped as a picture appeared floating in the space between them. It showed Earth as seen from far away in space, blue and white and beautiful. But around Earth were hundreds of ships. They were long and silver and unlike anything Lisa had ever seen. "This is your planet right now," Hayes said. "Those ships belong to different worlds in the Federation. We have been watching Earth for many years." Lisa reached out to touch the floating picture, but her hand passed right through it. "This is impossible. You're playing some kind of trick." "Look closer," Hayes said. The picture changed. Now it showed the inside of one of the ships. Beings that were not human walked through corridors made of smooth metal. Some looked almost like people but with different colored skin. Others were completely different with extra arms or strange heads or bodies covered in fur. There are 47 different worlds in the Federation, Hayes explained. Each one has intelligent life. Each one has joined together with the others to share knowledge and keep peace in this part of the galaxy. Why are you telling me this? Lisa asked. Her heart was beating fast. Why me? Hayes touched the device again. The floating picture changed, to show Lisa herself, but not as she was now. It showed her at different times in her life. Lisa as a teenager studying late at night. Lisa taking care of her sick mother in the hospital. Lisa working at the diner, being kind to rude customers. Because you represent something special about human beings, Hayes said. Something we have been looking for. I'm nothing special, Lisa said. I'm just a waitress. Captain Bell leaned forward. You were the smartest student in your school. You could have gone to any university in your country. But when your mother got sick, you stayed home to take care of her. You worked 3 jobs to pay for her medicine. You never complained. After she died, you could have taken that university scholarship, Lieutenant Moore added. It was still available, but you were afraid to take on debt. You were afraid you might fail and waste the chance. So you moved here and took a simple job to take care of yourself. Now you are having a baby with no husband to help you, Hayes continued. You work extra hours even though you are tired and your body hurts. You save every dollar for the baby's future. You never ask for help even when you need it. Lisa felt tears starting in her eyes. So what? Lots of people do that. It's just normal. No, Hayes said quietly. It is not normal. Most intelligent species think only of themselves. They want power, money, fame. They step on others to get what they want. But humans are different. Not all humans, but many of them. They choose to help others even when it costs them something. The floating picture changed again. Now it showed other humans around the world. A doctor working in poor countries where people could not pay. A teacher using her own money to buy supplies for students. A man giving food to hungry people on the street. We have been testing your species for 50 years, Hayes said. We create small problems and see how humans respond. Every time people like you step forward to help, you sacrifice your own comfort to make life better for others. Testing. Us how? Lisa asked. Natural disasters where we could have helped sooner, but we waited to see what humans would do. Wars where we could have stopped the fighting, but we wanted to see if humans would choose peace. Diseases where we had cures, but we watched to see if humans would care for the sick. Lisa felt sick. You let people die just to test us? Hayes looked sad. Yes, and we are sorry for that. But we had to know what humans are really like when no one is watching. Many species fail these tests. They are too selfish or too violent to join the Federation. And if they fail, they are left alone, forever. No contact, no help, no knowledge of other worlds. They stay on their planet until they destroy themselves or learn to be better. Lisa looked at the floating picture of Earth surrounded by ships. What happens if we pass? Then humanity joins the Federation. Your people learn about other worlds. You get new technology to solve problems like hunger and disease and war. You become part of something bigger than just one planet. But there's a problem, Captain Bell said. Hayes nodded. The Federation Council is not sure about humans yet. They have seen the good things, but they have also seen the bad things. Wars, pollution, cruelty. They cannot decide if humans are ready. So they have agreed to try something new, Lieutenant Moore explained. They will let one human speak for all humans. If that person can prove that humanity deserves to join the Federation, then Earth will be accepted. Lisa understood what they were going to say next, but she did not want to hear it. You want me to be that person? Yes, Hayes said. You represent the best of what humans can be. Smart enough to understand complex problems. Caring enough to put others first. Strong enough to make hard choices. But I'm nobody, Lisa said. I didn't even go to college. I serve coffee and burgers. How can I speak for all of humanity? Because, Hayes said, you understand what it means to be human better than the people who think they are important. You know what it feels like to struggle and to hope and to care about others more than yourself. The floating picture disappeared. The three men looked at Lisa and waited for her answer. What would I have to do? She asked. Come with us to the Federation space station. Meet the council members from other worlds. Show them that humans deserve a chance. And if I say no, then the council will make their decision without hearing from humanity. Based on what they have seen so far, they will probably choose to leave Earth alone. Lisa put her hand on her belly where the baby was growing. What about my child? The child comes with you, Hayes said. If humanity joins the Federation, your baby will grow up in a universe full of possibilities. New worlds to explore, new friends from other species, new ways to live and learn. And if we fail, then you come back to Earth and life goes on as it always has. But the chance will never come again. Lisa looked around the diner. Danny was still cooking. The old trucker was still reading his paper. Everything looked normal, but nothing would ever be normal again. She was being asked to leave everything she knew to speak for every human who had ever lived. How long do I have to decide? She asked. Hayes looked at his strange watch. The council meets in 6 hours. We need to leave soon if we are going to make it. 6 hours? Lisa's voice cracked. That's not enough time to think about something this big. We know it is hard, Hayes said gently, but sometimes the most important decisions have to be made quickly. Lisa closed her eyes and tried to think. Her whole life had been about taking care of other people, her mother, her customers at the diner, the baby growing inside her. Now, she was being asked to take care of all humanity. She opened her eyes and looked at the three men who claimed to be from other worlds. They were waiting patiently for her answer, but she could see the hope in their faces. If I go with you, she said slowly, do you promise to bring me back home if things go wrong? We promise, Hayes said. And my baby will be safe? Your baby will be safer with us than anywhere else in the universe. Lisa took a deep breath. She thought about all the people on Earth who had no idea that their future was being decided in a small diner in Nevada. She thought about her unborn child and what kind of world she wanted them to grow up in. Okay, she said, I'll do it. Lisa sat in the back seat of a car that looked normal from the outside but felt different inside. The seats were softer than anything she had ever touched. The windows were tinted so dark that no one could see in, but she could see out perfectly. Commander Hayes sat next to her while Captain Bell drove. Lieutenant Moore sat in the front passenger seat, watching a device that showed maps with moving dots. Where are we going? Lisa asked. To our ship, Hayes said. It is hidden in the desert, about 20 miles from here. Lisa looked back toward the diner, which was getting smaller behind them. Danny had been confused when she told him she had to leave for a few days. She could not tell him the truth. How could she explain that she was going to space to speak for all humans? He would have thought she was crazy. I should have brought some clothes, she said. Everything you need will be provided, Hayes assured her. The car turned off the main, rode onto a dirt path that led into empty desert. Lisa had lived in Nevada long enough to know that people got lost out here and died. But she was not afraid of getting lost. She was afraid of what would happen when they reached their destination. Tell me more about this council, she said. Hayes looked out the window at the desert rocks and scrub brush. The Federation Council has representatives from 47 worlds. Some species are very old, millions of years older than humans. Others are newer, but still much more advanced than Earth. What are they like? Different from each other and different from humans. The Zephyrians communicate through light patterns. The Gordons use sound frequencies that humans cannot hear. The Crystalline Collective shares thoughts directly without speaking. Lisa felt her baby kick inside her belly. Will they understand me when I talk to them? Yes. We have translation technology that works with any language or form of communication. But understanding your words is not the challenge. Then what is? Captain Bell spoke from the driver's seat. The challenge is making them believe that humans deserve a chance. Most council members think your species is too young and too dangerous. Dangerous? How? Lieutenant Moore turned around to face her. Humans fight wars over resources that could be shared. You pollute your planet even though you know it hurts you. You create weapons that could destroy your entire world. But you said we also do good things, Lisa said. Yes, Hayes agreed. That is why the council is willing to listen. They have never seen a species with such extremes. Humans can be incredibly cruel or incredibly kind, sometimes the same person on different days. The car stopped at what looked like empty desert. Lisa could see nothing but sand and rocks in every direction. Hayes got out and motioned for her to follow. He walked to a large boulder and placed his hand on it. The rock began to glow, and then it moved aside like a door. This way, Hayes said. They walked down a ramp that led underground. The walls were made of the same smooth metal Lisa had seen in the floating pictures. Lights came on automatically as they walked. After a few minutes, they entered a large room where Lisa saw her first alien spacecraft. The ship was beautiful. It looked like it was made of silver water that had been frozen in the shape of a bird. There were no sharp edges or straight lines. Everything curved and flowed together. Lisa could not see any engines or windows, but somehow she knew it could. Fly among the stars. How does it work, she asked. It bends space around itself, Hayes explained. Instead of moving through space, it makes space move around it. That is how we can travel between stars in a short time. They walked up a ramp into the ship. Inside was even more amazing than outside. The corridors were wide and tall, with walls that seemed to glow with their own light. The floor felt solid but also somehow soft under her feet. Everything was clean and bright and beautiful. Hayes led her to a room with large windows that showed the desert outside. This is where you will stay during the journey. It will take about 2 hours to reach the space station. 2 hours to get to space. The station is hidden behind your moon. Close enough to watch Earth, but far enough away that humans cannot see it with their telescopes. Lisa sat down in a chair that adjusted itself to fit her body perfectly. Through the windows, she watched the desert landscape slide past as the ship moved silently upward. She felt no movement, no shaking, no noise. It was like riding in a dream. I need to ask you something, she said to Hayes. Why did you really choose me? I know what you said about sacrifice and helping others, but there must be millions of people like that on Earth. Hayes sat down across from her. You are right. There are many humans who show the same qualities, but you have something extra that we need. What? You understand what it means to make impossible choices. When your mother was sick, you had to choose between your future and her care. You chose her care, even though it meant giving up your dreams. Lisa remembered those long nights in the hospital, watching her mother sleep and wondering if she was making the right decision. It did not feel like a choice. It felt like the only thing I could do. Exactly, Hayes said. That is what makes you special. When faced with an impossible situation, you do not think about what you want. You think about what is right. The ship continued to rise. Through the windows, Lisa could see the curve of the earth below them. It looked just like the pictures she had seen in school, but seeing it with her own eyes made her feel small and large at the same time. The council is going to give you impossible choices too, Hayes continued. They will create scenarios where any decision you make will hurt someone. They want to see how humans think when there is no perfect answer. What kind of scenarios? We do not know. The council keeps their tests secret until the moment they are given, but we know they will be designed to reveal the deepest parts of human nature. Lisa watched clouds swirl over the oceans far below. What if I make the wrong choice? There are no wrong choices in the council's tests, Lieutenant Moore said from the doorway. There are only human choices. The council wants to see how you think, not whether you can guess the right answer. But what if my way of thinking is not good enough for them? Hayes leaned forward. Lisa, do you remember why you decided to keep your baby even though the father left and you had no money? Lisa put her hand on her belly. Because she is my responsibility. I brought her into the world, so I have to take care of her. Even though it makes your life harder? Even though. That is exactly the kind of thinking the Council needs to see. Most species make decisions based on what benefits them the most. Humans make decisions based on what is right, even when it costs them something. The ship passed through a layer of clouds, and suddenly Lisa could see space around them. Stars everywhere, brighter and more beautiful than she had ever imagined. And there, growing larger as they approached, was a structure that took her breath away. The Federation space station was enormous. It looked like a city floating in space with towers and domes and bridges connecting different sections. Lights moved along its surface like rivers of stars. Ships came and went from docking bays that looked like flowers opening and closing. How many beings live there? Lisa asked. About 50,000, Captain Bell said. Representatives from every Federation, world plus their families and support staff, and they are all waiting to judge humanity based on what I do. Not judge, Hayes corrected. Evaluate. They want to know if humans are ready to join the galactic community. If you show them that humans can think beyond themselves, that humans can make hard choices for the good of others, then Earth will be welcomed. And if I show them that humans are selfish or cruel, then humanity will be left alone until you evolve further. It might take thousands of years. Lisa felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders like a heavy blanket. Every person on Earth, everyone she had ever known or cared about, was depending on her to make the right impression on beings from other worlds. I am scared, she admitted. Hayes smiled, and for the first time it looked warm and genuine. Good. If you were not scared, we would have chosen the wrong person. Fear means you understand how important this is. The ship moved toward one of the docking bays, on the space station. Lisa could see other ships arriving and departing, each one different from the others. Some looked like the silver bird she was riding in. Others were geometric shapes that hurt her eyes to look at. A few seemed to be made of living tissue that pulsed and moved. Are you ready? Hayes asked. Lisa looked down at her simple work uniform, from the diner. She looked at her swollen belly and her tired face reflected in the window. She thought about all the important people on Earth who spoke for governments and corporations and universities. She was just a pregnant waitress from Nevada. But she was also a woman who had given up her dreams to care for her mother. A woman who worked extra hours to save money for a baby she would raise alone. A woman who had said yes when the impossible was asked of her. I am ready, she said. The ship docked with a soft sound like a sigh. Through the windows, Lisa could see the docking bay filled with beings from other worlds. They were waiting to meet the human who would speak for her entire species. Lisa stood up, put her hand on her belly where her daughter was growing, and walked toward the door that would open onto the rest of the universe. Lisa walked through the docking bay holding Hayes' arm for support. Her legs felt weak, and not just from the pregnancy. Everywhere she looked, she saw beings that should not exist. A creature that looked like a walking tree moved past them, its branches swaying as it walked. 3 small beings with blue skin and 4 arms spoke to each other in musical tones. Something that might have been made of living metal watched her with eyes that glowed like stars. They are all staring at me, Lisa whispered. You are the first human most of them have ever seen, Hayes said. They are curious, not hostile. They walked through corridors that were wider than any hallway Lisa had ever seen. The walls showed pictures that moved like windows looking out at different worlds. One showed a planet covered in purple oceans. Another showed cities floating in clouds. A third showed forests of crystal trees that sang in the wind. How many worlds are there? Lisa asked. In the Federation? 47. In the galaxy? Millions. Most have life of some kind, but only a few develop intelligence and technology. They stopped at a door that had no handle or lock that Lisa could see. Hayes placed his hand on it and it opened silently. Inside was a room designed for humans. The furniture looked normal, the bed was the right size, and the bathroom had everything she would need. This is your room, Hayes said. Rest for a while. The council meeting begins in 1 hour. What should I expect? Hayes sat down in a chair by the window which showed a view of Earth hanging in space like a blue marble. The council chamber is large. You will stand in the center while the representatives sit in a circle around you. Do not be afraid if some of them look strange or frightening. They are not trying to scare you. What will they ask me to do? We do not know. Each species creates their own test when a new world applies to join the Federation. The tests are always different. Lisa sat on the bed and rubbed her back where it ached. Have any species ever failed the test? Yes, many. The Corvins were rejected because they could not stop fighting among themselves. The Nethers were rejected because they saw other species as tools to be used. The Quailocs were rejected because they cared only about pleasure and comfort. What happened to them? They went back to their worlds. Some learned from the experience and changed. Others continued as they were. A few destroyed themselves. Lisa felt her baby kick, as if responding to her stress. What if the Council thinks humans are like those failed species? Hayes looked out at Earth. Then humanity will have to wait and grow, but I do not think that will happen. I have studied your species for many years. Humans have something special that even ancient civilizations respect. What? Hope. Even when everything goes wrong, humans keep believing things can get better. Most species lose that as they become more advanced. They become logical but not hopeful, practical but not passionate. A soft chime sounded in the room. Hayes stood up. It is time. They walked through more corridors filled with beings from other worlds. Lisa tried not to stare, but it was impossible to look away. She saw creatures that breathed water instead of air, floating in clear tubes that moved with them. Others seemed to be made of living light that shifted colors as they moved. Some looked almost human, but with skin colors that did not exist on Earth. The council chamber was enormous. The ceiling was so high that Lisa could not see the top. The walls curved up and around like the inside of a giant egg. In the center was a small platform where Lisa would stand. Around it, in rising circles, were seats for the council members. As Lisa walked to the platform, the seats began to fill. She had expected them to look like chairs, but each seat was different, designed for the being who would sit in it. Some were filled with water. Others glowed with heat. A few seemed to be made of living plants that grew around their occupants. The council members took their places. Lisa saw beings that challenged everything she thought she knew about life. One looked like a collection of geometric shapes that rearranged themselves as they moved. Another seemed to be made of living crystal that sparkled with inner light. A third was so large that only part of it could fit in the chamber. The rest existing in some other dimension she could not understand. At the front of the chamber sat the chief counselor. It looked like a mountain of crystal that grew up from the floor with faces that appeared and disappeared in its surface. When it spoke, the words formed directly in Lisa's mind without sound. Human Lisa Martinez, the voice said inside her head. You come before us to speak for your species. Do you understand the importance of this moment? Yes, Lisa said, surprised that her voice carried clearly through the huge chamber. Your species seeks to join the Galactic Federation. This would give humanity access to knowledge and technology far beyond your current abilities. It would also give you responsibilities to other worlds and other species. Are you prepared for this test? I am ready. The crystal being pulsed with light. Then let us begin. The chamber around Lisa changed. Suddenly she was no longer standing on a platform, but in what looked like a command center of a spaceship. Through windows she could see Earth below, but something was wrong. Parts of the planet were dark where cities should have been bright. Clouds of smoke covered large areas. This is a simulation, the chief counselor's voice explained. But the choices you make here will reveal the truth about human nature. You are the captain of a rescue ship. Earth is dying from a plague that your scientists created by accident. You have medicine that can save everyone, but your ship can only land in one place. You must choose. Lisa looked at the controls in front of her. A screen showed 3 locations on Earth. One was New York City, where 8 million people lived. Another was a small town in Africa, where 1,000 people lived. The third was a research station in Antarctica, where 50 scientists were working on a cure for the plague. Each location has value, the voice continued. The city has the most people. The town has children who represent the future. The research station has scientists who might find a better cure. You can save only one group. The others will die. Choose. Lisa stared at the screen. 8 million people in New York. 1,000 people in the African town. 50 scientists in Antarctica. How could anyone make such a choice? Can I split the medicine between the locations? She asked. No. The medicine only works if given in full doses to everyone in one location. Can I make multiple trips? No. The plague spreads too fast. By the time you return, the other locations will be dead. Lisa felt tears in her eyes. She thought about all the people she had served at the diner. Each one had a family, friends, dreams. How could she decide that some people deserved to live more than others? I need more information, she said. The screen changed to show details about each location. The people in New York were mostly adults with jobs and families. The people in the African town were mostly children and elderly, with a few adults taking care of them. The scientists in Antarctica were young and brilliant, working day and night to save the world. Time is running out, the chief counselor said. You must choose now. Lisa closed her eyes and thought about what it meant to be human. She thought about her mother, who had worked 3 jobs to raise her alone. She thought about the customers at the diner who tipped extra when they saw she was pregnant. She thought about the baby growing inside her, who would inherit whatever world Lisa helped create. She opened her eyes and looked at the screen. I choose the research station in Antarctica. The chamber was silent. Lisa could feel thousands of alien eyes watching her. Explain your choice, the chief counselor said. Lisa took a deep breath. 8 million people in New York is more than 50 scientists. 1,000 people in Africa is more than 50 scientists. By the numbers, I should choose one of those. But the scientists are working on a cure that could save everyone on Earth, not just the people in one location. Even though it means letting 8 million people die while you save only 50. Yes. Because those 50 people might save 8 billion. Sometimes the right choice is not about who you can save today, but about who might save everyone tomorrow. The simulation faded away. Lisa was back on the platform in the council chamber. The beings around her made sounds she did not understand. Some clicked, others hummed, a few made noises like wind through leaves. The chief counselor's crystal form brightened. Interesting. Most species choose based on numbers. Save the most people possible, but you chose based on potential. Save the few who might save everyone. Did I choose wrong? Lisa asked. There is no wrong choice in this test. There are only revealing choices. You have shown us how humans think when faced with impossible decisions. Another council member spoke, this one looking like a pillar of swirling gas. Its voice sounded like thunder. But we must test further. One choice is not enough to judge an entire species. The chamber changed again. This time Lisa found herself in what looked like a courtroom. She was the judge, and before her stood 2 groups of people. One group was humans from Earth. The other group was aliens from a world she had never seen. Both groups want to settle on the same planet, the chief counselor explained. There is only room for one species. The humans arrived first, but the aliens need the planet more desperately. Their homeworld is dying. As judge, you must decide who gets to stay and who must leave. Lisa looked at the 2 groups standing before her in the simulated courtroom. The humans stood straight and proud, their leader stepping forward to speak. Your Honor, the human leader said, we arrived at this planet first. We have built homes and farms. We have followed all the laws of space colonization. The planet is ours by right. The alien leader moved forward too. This being was tall and thin with gray skin and large dark eyes. When it spoke, its voice was soft and sad. Honored judge, our world is dying from a star that grows too hot. Our children are sick from the radiation. We need this planet to survive. We have nowhere else to go. Lisa felt the weight of another impossible choice. The humans had legal right to the planet. They had worked hard to build their colony. But the aliens were dying and desperate. Their need was greater. How long have the humans been on this planet? Lisa asked. 5 Earth years, came the answer in her mind from the chief counselor. How long do the aliens have before their homeworld becomes unlivable? 6 months. Lisa closed her eyes and thought. She remembered working at the diner, serving customers, who were rude or demanding. The easy thing would have been to ignore them or be rude back, but she had always tried to understand why people acted the way they did. Usually they were tired or worried or having a bad day. She opened her eyes and looked at both groups. I need to ask some questions. She turned to the human leader. How many of your people live on this planet? 2,000, he replied. Do you have other worlds where you could go if you had to leave? The human leader hesitated. Yes, but we have worked so hard here. We have farms and businesses. Starting over would be difficult. Lisa turned to the alien leader. How many of your people need to be saved? 50,000, the being replied. All that remain of our species. Have you looked for other planets that could support your people? We have searched for many years. This is the only world we have found that can sustain our biology. Without it, we will all die. Lisa nodded slowly. She understood now what the test was really about. It was not about legal rights or who was there first. It was about what humans would do when forced to choose between their own comfort and another species' survival. My decision is this, Lisa said, her voice carrying clearly through the courtroom. The humans will share the planet with the aliens. There is room for both species if they work together, but the question was who gets to stay and who must leave, the chief counselor's voice said in her mind. I reject that question, Lisa said firmly. The real question should be how two intelligent species can help each other survive. The humans have experience building on this planet. The aliens have knowledge from their dying world about surviving in harsh conditions. Together they can make the planet better for both species. The simulation around Lisa began to fade. She was back on the platform in the council chamber. The alien beings around her made sounds that could have been approval or disapproval. She could not tell which. The chief counselor's crystal form pulsed with different colors. You have completed our tests, Lisa Martinez. In the first test, you chose to save the few who might save many. In the second test, you chose cooperation over conflict. These are not the answers we expected. Did I fail? Lisa asked. Another council member spoke. This one looked like a tree made of metal with leaves that chimed like bells. Most species choose based on logic. Save the most people. Protect your own kind first. Follow the established rules. A third council member joined the conversation. It appeared to be made of flowing water that held its shape. But you chose based on something else. Hope that people can work together. Faith that sharing is better than fighting. Belief that cooperation creates better solutions than competition. Lisa felt her baby kick inside her belly. That is what my mother taught me. She said that most problems get smaller when people help each other, and bigger when people fight each other. The chief counselor rose higher, its crystal surface reflecting light in patterns that were almost hypnotic. The Federation Council has made its decision about humanity. Lisa held her breath. Everything she had done, every choice she had made, led to this moment. Humanity will be welcomed into the Galactic Federation, the chief counselor announced. Lisa felt relief wash over her like warm water. She had done it. Earth would join the other worlds. Humans would learn about the galaxy and contribute to something bigger than themselves. However, the chief counselor continued, we have a proposal that has never been made before. What kind of proposal? Commander Hayes appeared beside the platform. He looked surprised, which worried Lisa. If he had not expected this, what was the council planning? In our long history, the chief counselor explained, we have welcomed many species into the Federation. They join as junior members and learn from more advanced civilizations. But your tests have shown us something unusual about humans. What? Your species has qualities that even ancient civilizations have lost. The ability to hope when logic says there is no hope. The willingness to sacrifice for others even when it gains you nothing. The creativity to find new solutions to old problems. The crystal being paused, and Lisa could feel the attention of every council member focused on her. We offer humanity, not just membership in the Federation, but a seat on the ruling council itself. Your species would help guide the decisions. That affect all 47 worlds. Lisa's mouth fell open. But we are so young compared to other species. We have not even traveled to other stars yet. How can we help rule a galactic federation? Because, said the tree-like council member, wisdom is not always about age or technology. Sometimes it is about seeing problems with fresh eyes and caring, enough to find solutions that help everyone. Hayes stepped closer to Lisa. This has never happened before. No species has ever been offered a council seat immediately upon joining the Federation. What would this mean for Earth? Lisa asked. The water-like being answered. Accelerated technological development. An end to hunger and disease on your world. Protection from hostile forces in the galaxy. But also great responsibility. Council members must consider the welfare of billions of beings across dozens of worlds. Lisa thought about the people back on Earth, the customers at Danny's diner who worried about paying their bills, the pregnant women like herself who wondered if they could give their children a good life, the millions of people who worked hard every day just to survive. Would humans on Earth get to vote on this decision? The council seat belongs to the species, not to individuals, the chief counselor explained. But the representative who holds the seat would be chosen by humanity itself. Lisa understood what they were asking. It was not just about her anymore. It was about every human who would come after her, and the kind of universe they would inherit. I accept on behalf of humanity, she said, but with conditions. The council chamber became very quiet. What conditions? The chief counselor asked. First, humans join as equals, not as subjects. We contribute our ideas and perspectives, but we do not give up our independence or our values. Agreed. Second, the changes to Earth happen gradually. People need time to adjust to new technologies and new ideas. We do not want to lose what makes us human in the process of becoming galactic citizens. Agreed. Third, we never forget that our greatest strength is not our intelligence or our technology. It is our ability to care about each other, even when it costs us something. The chief counselor's form brightened until it was almost too bright to look at. These conditions show wisdom beyond your years, Lisa Martinez. The council accepts your terms. Hayes smiled, and this time, it was warm and genuine. Welcome to the Galactic Federation, Ambassador Martinez. Ambassador? Lisa put her hand on her belly where her daughter was growing. I am just a waitress from Nevada. You are the human who showed the galaxy that your species deserves not just membership, but leadership in the community of worlds, Hayes said. Your daughter will be born into a universe full of possibilities that previous generations could never have imagined. As the council members began to leave their seats, making sounds of approval in dozens of different languages, Lisa looked out through the transparent walls of the chamber at Earth hanging in space. It looked the same as it had when she first saw it. But everything had changed. She was still a pregnant woman who had been working as a waitress just a few hours ago. But now she was also Ambassador Martinez, representing humanity in a galactic federation of 47 worlds. The baby kicked again, and Lisa smiled. Do not worry, little one, she whispered. You are going to grow up in a very interesting universe. Commander Hayes approached her as the chamber emptied. Are you ready to go home and tell your world what has happened? Lisa looked around the vast space station one more time, at the beings from other worlds who were now her colleagues and partners. Then she thought about Danny's diner, about her simple life serving coffee and cleaning tables. Yes, she said. I am ready to go home. We have a lot of work to do.